Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video we're going to be going over the top 25 best European, European on my truck, cars for less than $10,000. We've been doing this a lot with different things. We did top 25 best hatchbacks, top 25 best sedans, top 25 best JDM cars. Now today we're doing the top 25 best European cars. I think the next one's going to be the top 25 best standalone trucks, because I keep seeing this guy commenting and being like, can we get a standalone trucks video, So I think that one's going to be next. But let me know what other ideas you would like to see me do the top 25 best on under 10K, obviously. Media of the day is my other YouTube channel, Giggity Plays, where I am playing through all these kinds of story games for like the first time of my life, because I've always played, oh, my controller batteries are low. I've always played a bunch of Call of Duty, Apex Legends, friggin', competitive games, Rocket League, Rainbow Six Siege, whatever it may be, my whole life, but never really put in too much time into the story game, so I wanted to try it, so I made that channel to like document myself trying them. So if you're interested, go check it out, man. Shameless plug. I don't care though, I'm putting it there. Alright, go check it out if you haven't already. But without further ado, let's go right into it with the top 25 best European cars for less than $10,000. And coming in at the number 25 spot is going to be going to the BMW 740iL E38. Just a big spoiler alert here, man. We're going to be talking about a lot of BMWs today. It's Mark Roden, and I get to talk about specifically European cars, and there's 25 of them. Yeah, you bet your sweet baby there's going to be a lot of BMWs. This car comes with a 4.4 liter V8, making 286 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. Overall, it's a really good package. The only thing is, and the only reason why it's not any higher, is because it's a car that is just better than this, that has the same motor, in my opinion, higher on the list. So that's why I didn't put it any higher. Also, guys, are you liking the length of these videos? I feel like I get straight to the point nowadays. I don't like waste any time. I've been locking in on that, man. I'm not yapping anymore. 24th place is going to the Mercedes E350 W211. I talked about this car in the hatchback / wagons video, and it's made its appearance again because it's a really good car in my opinion. It comes with a 3.5 liter V6, making 268 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Overall, it's just a great package. It's obviously going to have some reliability issues, but spoiler alert for this entire video, all these cars are going to have some reliability issues. They're European, like they're all going to be a little bit of a ticking time bomb here and there. And so the E350 does as well. The only reason why it's not any like higher on the list is because it doesn't come with a manual transmission, which is poopy. 23rd place, however, so underrated, dude. These cars are so slept on just because they kind of look boring. 23rd place is a Porsche Boxster 986. Yeah, there's only 2 Porsches on today's list because obviously the vast majority of Porsches are significantly more than $10,000. And so the ones that are under it are just so cool. This car comes with a 3.2 liter flat 6, making 264 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. That is not bad for a car of this size, and you're only paying like $9 grand for it as well. It's a manual transmission, it's a 2-seater. Does it look a little bit boring, a little bit girly? Yes, I'll be the first to admit it, man. But you're still buying a Porsche, all right? Like, that's still just aura. They're pretty much just Porsche Caymans, and I love you guys know how much I love Porsche Caymans. Caymans are, oh, hallelujah, they're incredible cars, and the Boxster pretty much just like a Cayman, just looks a little bit worse. 22nd place is a Jaguar XF X250. I wanted to put it higher, but realistically speaking, these cars are kind of ticking time bombs, even more than the majority of the cars on this list. They come with a 3 liter V6, making 240 horsepower, and they are rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. 240 horsepower in a rear-wheel drive sedan is pretty decent. It is unfortunately a V6 and a V6 from Jaguar. So again, like I said, it's going to be a ticking time bomb, but when it runs, it's going to be a really coll, really luxurious, really unique option on this list. Coming in at 21st place, however, barely missing out on the top 20, is another BMW, of course, the BMW 325i E30. Yeah, the E30 is just iconic, dude, and the fact that, oh my god, I want one so bad. The things I would do for a bone stock E30 coupe. Oh, the car comes with a 2.5 liter inline 4, making 170 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Yeah, by the way, I know it's kind of surprising, but yeah, the E30 was offered as all-wheel drive. Kind of weird, right? I know. But 170 horsepower in this car may not sound that great, but you got to remember the E30 weighs like 2 pounds total. It's so lightweight, so 170 horsepower is not bad at all. On top of that, these cars are really good, obviously, for motor swaps. Not the best interior, not the best in terms of reliability. They're obviously very old at this point, so they're going to have a bunch of problems, but there's just such an aura car on today's list. Coming in at 20th place, so underrated. Even on the Mark Roden channel, it's an underrated car. The Volkswagen Passat B6. We're talking about the B6 specifically today, but any Passat under 10K is usually going to be a pretty in my opinion, a pretty good deal. They're pretty much just not rebadged, but bigger Volkswagen Jettas. The car comes with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 200 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, which is actually really cool. It's the only difference. The only reason why it's not like any higher is because they're literally just heavier Jetta GLIs. Like if you want a sports car, the Jetta GLI is a significantly better option, but the Passat offers the bonus of having more space, right? You could carry your buddies around, you can carry more things around in it much more easily. They don't look as good, I'll be honest, they don't look as cool as like the Jettas, but they also are offered with all-wheel drive, which is obviously really cool when you compare it to front-wheel drive. Coming in at 19th place, however, another BMW. Would you look at that? It's the BMW 550i F10. My buddy Zach I think he sold it now, but he just had an F10 550i, and good God, dude, those cars are incredible cars to be in. The car comes with a 4.4-liter twin turbocharged V8, making 400 horsepower on the dot, and it is rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. That's an incredible package, obviously. So what's the downside? There's obviously got to be some pretty big downside here, right? Yeah. It's really unreliable. like it's kind of a ticking time. It's like one of the most ticking time bombs on today's list, unfortunately, which sucks because the interior quality is incredible. It looks incredible. The performance is incredible. It's just the reliability is just not there. Speaking of cars that are pretty unreliable, coming in at the number 18 spot is the Audi S4 B7. You guys know how much I love the B7. I think the B7 is one of my favorite generations of the S4 A4 line. I think it just looks so simple but so good, but unfortunately the reliability is just really not there. The car comes with a 4.2-liter V8 making 340 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. When it's running, again, it's like the 550i we just talked about actually. When this car is running, it's one of the best cars on today's list. The problem is it just doesn't run that much. So yeah, you can't really like rely on it being reliable. I guess that's how that works. But it's a really cool car when it is running, and it's naturally aspirated. Like, that's just sick. Coming in at 17th place, however, my friend Dom has one of these. He loves it. The Mercedes S550 W221. Yeah, you can buy S classes for under 10K. They're one of the most like heavily depreciating cars of all time. It's absolutely mind-blowing to me. And once you do, you have an incredible S class level of luxury for under 10 grand. The car comes with a 5.5-liter V8 making 382 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Obviously, that horsepower number sounds really, really good, and it is, but the car is extremely heavy, obviously, so it's not putting that power to good use, really. And it is going to be a little bit unreliable. It's not a sports car, but if you want a luxury, nice, comfortable driver, this is an incredible option. And on the complete other end of that spectrum, actually, coming in at the number 16 spot is like the lightest, most obvious sports car on today's list, the BMW Z3. Yeah, the Z3 is so, you guys know how much I love the Z3, man. It's literally just a lighter weight E46, and I don't know how people don't love that. The car comes with a 3-liter inline-6, making 225 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. It's a 2-seater, obviously. It's manual transmission, lightweight, short wheelbase. Like, it's just plain and simple, and it looks really cool. I don't know why people don't like the Z3s more. Like, it kind of blows me away, actually. They're literally a German Miata with more horsepower and a little bit more unreliable, obviously. Speaking of unreliability, coming in at the number 15 spot is a car that you guys know I have a very big guilty pleasure for, but I'm going to be honest, they're definitely ticking time bombs. The Mini Cooper SR53. If these cars were reliable, I think we would have, as a species, solved cancer at this point, like cured cancer, I should say, because they're just incredible. They come with a 1.6-liter supercharged inline-4, making 170 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. They're obviously extremely lightweight. They look really good, in my opinion. They're overall just an incredible car all around, except for the reliability. They are just ticking time bombs, which sucks, dude. Finally, a just overall good package. I feel like every car up until this point has had something that was kind of bad with it, but 14th place is the Volkswagen GTI Mark V, and overall this car is just a good option. Is it the best option? No, it's at 14th place today, but it is a good one. The car comes with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 200 horsepower on the dot, and it is front-wheel drive. Yeah, it's good. It's got the same motor that the Passat had in it earlier, but it's lighter. Like, it's just, and it has more, like, cargo space, not more cabin space, really. But it's also obviously just more, like, sport-oriented, too. GTIs are obviously, I guess you could say, sports cars, in a sense. And it is going to be a lot of fun. There's a reason why people love the GTIs. Coming in at 13th place, another little sporty boy, another car that people just don't talk about anymore. I feel like when Europeans make, like, specifically sports-looking cars, people don't like them. They like when Europeans make sedans. 13th place is the Audi TT second generation. These cars come with a 3.2-liter V6, making 250 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. I would obviously highly recommend getting the all-wheel drive Quattro package. Incredible package there. 250 horsepower from the get-go in a pretty lightweight car is really good. The only real downside, I guess, is the space. It's not really there. The reliability is pretty decent, though. It's not going to build the most power, so don't expect it to have like a race car on your hands, but it's overall just a really good platform. Okay, another guilty pleasure pick because I love these cars. I think they're so underrated. I think they're overhated, if anything, actually. 12th place is going to the BMW 650i E63. The rear ends of the E63s don't look the best. They kind of look like a weird little, like, shark or something. Like, you know, those, like, beluga whales, I guess is the best way of putting it. But the rest of the car is so cool. The car comes with a 4.8-liter V8, making 360 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. That's obviously good horsepower numbers, but it is a little bit on the heavier side. But this is, like, a good mixture between a 7 Series, like, really big luxury car, in like a 3 Series, like a sports car, right? The 6 Series are always such good little mixtures of that, while looking, in my opinion, incredible. The E63 is so slept on. Coming in at the number 11 spot, however, is really unreliable, but really, really cool. The Audi S6 C6. Dude, oh, there's a reason they're under 10K. This is like the 550i F10 that we talked about earlier. Like, it sounds too good to be true, and that's because it is. The car comes with a 5.2-liter V10, making 435 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. Obviously, they are a little heavy, but it doesn't matter. It's still 435 horsepower. They're still going to be a lot of fun to drive. The downside is it's a freaking Audi V10. This car is a nightmare. Not only is it a nightmare to maintain, but then if it does break, good luck fixing it yourself. A freaking Audi V10, yeah, good luck. Coming in at 10th place, though, hey, listen, y'all can't say that I don't talk about Mercedes-Benz on my channel anymore, because I mention them sometimes. The Mercedes C300 W204. This is one of the only Mercedes that I, like, actually know and, like, have done research on before, because I just don't know much about Mercedes, obviously. But the car comes with a 3-liter V6 making 248 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. This is the, you know, BMW 3 Series competitor. Would I rather have this as a 3 Series? No, we still have a couple of cars to go, and spoiler alert, but one of them might be a 3 Series. But it is overall a really good platform. No freaking manual transmission, though. It just drives me insane. Coming in at 9th place, yeah, you had to include it. It's just so iconic. It's getting a little bit overpriced in my opinion, and it's kind of hard to find them as clean examples now, so that's why it's not like first place, but it is still a really good platform if you can manage to be patient and find a clean chassis for a good price. The BMW 328i E36 comes with a 2.8-liter inline-6 making 190 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. It's obviously just a really good platform and a very lightweight car with an incredible chassis to build. It's just great. Like, what is there to say about the E36 that hasn't been said already? It's an incredible platform. Hey, see, I told y'all boys that there was going to be another Porsche on today's list. You freaking scallywags. You hobgoblins. You troglodytes. 8th place is the Porsche 944. I love the 944, man. Y'all already know how much I love the 944. It comes with a 2.5-liter inline-4, making 143 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. Plain and simple, that's not great. Yeah, I'll be the first to say that's not incredible, but the good part about the Porsche 944 is it's unlike any other Porsche out there because it's extremely reliable, easy to work on, and cheap as hell. It's an incredible platform with pop-up headlights too, and it looks good. Ah, man, I love the 944. Coming in at 7th place, however, I've been talking about this car a lot lately. It was in the hatchbacks video, and then it was in another video. I can't remember what the other video was, so it's kind of driving me nuts. It's in the hatchbacks video and then some other video, but the Volkswagen Corrado VR6. Yeah, the Volkswagen Corrado, man, I love these things. They come with a 2.8-liter V6, so it's a VR6, making 190 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. The VR6, for those who don't know, is a reliable motor that loves to build power. All it wants is to make more horsepower. On top of that, it's a really good-looking car, in my opinion. I know it's personal opinion there, and there are definitely some people out there that don't like the looks of the Corrado, but I do. I freaking love them. I think they're gorgeous. One of my favorite Volkswagens of all time, and you can find them under 10K. I remember what the other video was, that the Corrado showed up, and it was the 18 underrated cars for less than 10K. That's what it was. I'll have to do a top 25 of that as well. Underrated cars under 10K. Either way, 6th place is going to the Volvo S60R. It's a better WRX, man. I said it. The car comes with a 2.5-liter turbocharged inline-5, making 300 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. 300 horsepower from the get-go is great in a car that's this light. The motor likes to build power. It's reliable as hell. It's all-wheel drive. It looks good. There is not a single downside to the S60R. It is truly an incredible option. The only slight downside is they're pretty one of the more expensive cars on today's list, unfortunately. It's kind of hard to find them too. There's not a lot of them out there. Remember all the way at the beginning of the video when I said that the reason why the 740i was so low is because there was a better car than it? Well, if you have that memory, good job. My memory is way worse than yours. But 5th place is that car, the BMW 540i E39. It's just a better 740i in my opinion. The car comes with the same motor, a 4.4-liter V8 making 286 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive, but it's in a significantly lighter weight package. It doesn't really, it sacrifices some of the luxury of the 740i, don't get me wrong, but not enough to make it not worth it. Like, it's still a very luxurious car, and it's just so much more sporty, better looking. It's just a much better platform. Y'all already know how much I love the E39. Coming in at 4th place, however, see, I put a Mercedes-Benz up here, guys. I like them too. The Mercedes SL 500 R129. The fact that these cars are under $10,000 is a little bit mind-blowing, but then you remember that it's a Mercedes and you kind of start to realize the reasoning. The car comes with a 5-liter V8, making 322 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. Yeah, I mean, a Mercedes V8 is just, you can't fix her. You can't fix her, dude. Just get it through your head. Like, that's not happening. I'm sorry. But it's really cool when it's running. Like, it's really, really cool when it's running. Coming in at 3rd place, however, the bronze medal for today's list is going to be going to the Volkswagen GTI Mark 7. When I found out that these cars are under 10K, my draws were shatting. I was starstruck. The car comes with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 230 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive. It's just an incredible platform. It really is. I mean, the Mark 7 GTIs are just so good. On top of that, I love how they look, dude. I've always loved how the Mark 7 GTI looks. I think it's one of the better looking GTIs for sure. It looks so aggressive. And you can find them under 10K now. I always thought they were like 15K still, but nope. I mean, there still are Mark 7 GTIs for like 15 grand, but you can find them under 10K now. It's kind of crazy. Coming in at 2nd place, however, it's again overall just an incredible platform. The Audi S4 B8. They kind of fixed most of the issues with the S4 B7, but also gave it a little bit more of an issue. We'll talk about that in a second, because the car comes with a 3-liter twin turbocharged V6, making 333 horsepower, and it is all-wheel drive. First of all, I love when the horsepower number is like that, 333. Like the 300ZX is 222. I like that. I like it a lot. But yeah, what I was saying earlier, the S4 B7 was really unreliable, obviously. It was a really cool motor and just an overall cool car, but it was horribly unreliable. The S4 B8 is significantly more reliable. It's a very reliable car, but it isn't as cool of a motor, I would say, as the 4.2-liter V8 that's found in the S4 B7. But 1st place, in my opinion, the best European car for under 10 grand. If you know Mark Roden, you know it was going to be the BMW 335i E9X. I'm a BMW boy at heart, what can I say? But this really is just truly a very good platform as long as you maintain your cars. And if you're watching a European cars under $10,000 video, chances are you're the type of owner to maintain your cars, because otherwise you would not have a car to drive. The car comes with a 3-liter twin turbocharged inline-6, making 300 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. It is the N54, as we all know, and the N54 is a very controversial motor, to say the least. On one hand, it's insanely good at building power for the price that you pay for the car and for the mods that you have to do to it. You can get this motor up to 500 horsepower with working at McDonald's for a week. Like, it is the easiest car out there to make power on. But on the other hand, if you don't take care of it, if you don't maintain your cars, or even if you just get plain unlucky, the motor might just blow up. The motor might just file your taxes incorrectly and have the IRS show up at your house and break in your front door. It's a really risky motor, but the payoff is so worth it. And in my opinion, this is the best car under 10K, European car under 10K. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video on the top 25 best European cars for less than $10,000. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what other videos I'd like to see in the comment section down below. Check the links in the description for any of my social medias or any of my other YouTube channels or any of that great mumbo jumbo. And yeah, obviously, like I said, the next top 25 best cars blanks under $10,000 is going to be the trucks, the standalone trucks video. Excuse me. We'll do the top. Yeah, we'll do that next. But then after that, let me know what you guys are thinking. I do want to do the underrated ones now. I want to do the top 25 underrated cars under 10K. And obviously, now that we did European and JDM, we still have to do a top 25 best American cars under $10,000. Like, what are you doing? What are you, stupid? What are you, dumb? Like, clearly we have to do that. And I also kind of want to do some where it's like different price points too. So we'll just do like, we won't do literally like top 25 best Euro cars, top 25. We won't do every single one again, but we'll do like the top 25 best like cars just in general, sports cars, whatever, under 5K and then under 3K. And we could do that instead, because obviously some of these cars on today's list, yes, they're under 10K, but they're not under 5K. And so I know people might have a different, price range or whatever it may be. So yeah, we'll do that instead. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, man. Oh, I keep seeing comments, and I really appreciate the comments of people like recommending cars that they want to see me talk about for good, bad, and uglies, or 5 reasons you should buy, 5 reasons you should not buy style videos. And I appreciate that, but I really want to make it clear, if you are going to recommend a car, I don't want to sound like an a-hole here, but please just look up like Mark Roden and then that car, because a lot of these guys will be like, hey, can you do a video on this car? And I already have. They'll be like, hey, can you do it? Like, I got a comment the other day of somebody being like, can you do a good, bad, and ugly on the Mark 7 GTI? I already have a good, bad, and ugly on the Mark 7 GTI. I did it for him anyways. I did the 5 reasons you should and 5 reasons you shouldn't video instead of a good, bad, and ugly, since I already did a good, bad, and ugly. But yeah, I don't want to, I know I don't want to seem like ungrateful or like seem like, you know, an a-hole or anything, but please guys, if you're going to recommend a car, I really appreciate it, but just make sure I haven't already done a video on it. It's really simple. Literally all you got to do, type in YouTube, just type in my name, Mark Roden, and then type in the car that you're thinking of, and it'll most likely, if it's there, if I made a video on it, it'll pop up. If I didn't make a video on it, it won't pop up. So there you go. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.